What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Gosta, and today we have another outstanding episode in store for you guys. I'm recording this the day after my interview with Elijah Bovin. It was a great interview over there. I hope you guys checked it out. If not, make sure to go check it out after this episode. But joining me today on episode 67 of the podcast, I'm bringing back in a familiar face that if you guys have been watching before. As you know, I like to reach out to people on all sorts of platforms, from TikTok to Instagram and all sorts of athletes alike. So please join me as I welcome back into the podcast. Hey, Kami. Kami, how you doing today, man?
Not too bad, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, it's been about 3 weeks or so since we've last talked on the show. How have you kind of been holding up?
Better. Definitely a lot better now. The story, it turns out I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
So, so that's good. I feel like the effects that I've already seen happen in the game have been really, really positive. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty optimistic now. I'm not so, I'm not so timid, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the story of illegal substances in baseball, it's like taken off like wildfire right now. It's been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the storylines that we're starting to see already, it's insane. It's like this has not been a dud by any measure. Like you kind of hit this one on the head.
I can't, like, the stories that bridge out at the 2-month mark of the season, where whatever 9 weeks, 2.5 months, but like, what's going to happen with this guy? Who's this guy? Is DeGrom's really DeGrom? Surprise. How's Court, like, look at the way Corbin Burns has fallen off. What teams are dependent on it? What individuals are dependent on it? Pace of play, offense. But there's like, we'll go into it. But it's just so many storylines. Like I was into baseball in the steroids era, but I wasn't like checking out like, Baseball Savant and Fangraphs and like all that stuff. And now I have this kind of better knowledge of the sport, and I just can't remember a time in my life where there's been so much talk about one thing and the true effects that one thing has on the entire game, right?
No, it's been absolutely ludicrous, especially in my lifetime. I mean, I didn't witness, any of the stuff going on in the steroid era. I kind of saw the residual guys coming out of it, like Barry Bonds retired when I was probably like 6 years old. I had, obviously, I think the biggest kind of steroid accuser rather during my era was probably A-Rod. Because I at least saw him during 2013. I saw how that kind of went down during that year, and when Ryan Dempster hit him, all the crazy stuff that sparked after that.
Canadian Ryan Dempster.
What?
The Canadian Ryan Dempster.
Oh yeah, the Canadian Ryan Dempster. No, I love myself some Ryan Dempster. He's a great guy. But going into it, obviously, the way I've mentioned it before, but the way I found your podcast, or rather your TikTok page, and was what I meant to say. The way I found you was, obviously through the app and kind of seeing you going through the algorithm, it popped up on my For You page, and I was just like, hey, some baseball content. This is awesome. And I was kind of starting to hear all like these little nuanced things that you were saying, about the pitchers cheating and all this stuff. And I was like how serious is this kind of a thing? And like you were kind of like the first guy that I was like really hearing talk about it. Bauer, like Trevor Bauer in the MLB, kind of was like speaking on it, but it wasn't really as big of a story until I heard you kind of talking about it over on your side. Your account on TikTok, even since we last spoke, I think when we were talking, just 3 weeks ago, you were like just shy of 30,000 followers. Now you're up to what is it, like 50,000 followers on TikTok?
52, 53. Yeah. Today was a big Wander Franco day, was a big day. So I got a lot of followers today, but
it's been crazy. It's doubled your following.
Yeah. It's really, really blowing up. And I get a lot of comments from people who are like, I thought I didn't like baseball and now I do. Like that's like the ultimate compliment that I can get, is like, I was not interested in this sport one bit, and now I'm hooked on the drama. And I'm like, if it's bringing people, I think it is a scandal, but at the same time, it's bringing eyes to the game. And for the scandal, like where steroids was like a 15-year scandal, people don't have this heartache over foreign stuff. They haven't been like Yankees fans didn't deal with it 3 years in a row and have this rage over blah foreign substances, or Dodgers fans don't have this rage because they've been like, it was happening, but it was behind other things, right? Like, and then it started, this year was the year it expanded to being bigger than trash can banging. This is way worse than trash can banging.
You think so?
That's one team banging trash cans. You get a pitcher can come in and throw like this. John Means can come and throw a no-hitter. That's the game is over.
Yeah.
The game, there's no point in playing that game because he turned it into just a wash. It wasn't even a game. So the difference was, if he goes in normally, he's probably going to give up 3, 4, 5 runs, you know, and then it's a baseball game. So Houston had this ability. Don't get their pitchers were doing it and the hitters were doing the trash can thing. So it was like a team that had 2 techniques at once, and that really got them a lot of success, you know. And but the trash can banging was squashed because people listened to it and it just got outed, right? But this went under the wire for another 18 months, another 2 years. This went under anybody's kind of understanding of it. Bauer knew. Bauer was talking about it. There's a lot of great content makers on YouTube that will show you like a clip of like Will Smith getting pulled out of a game, or Pineda. We talked about Pineda.
The obvious one where it's just there.
And then you hear the like, so other content makers would talk about it. Like John Boy would talk about it. He did one video about Garrett Cole one time, and then it was like his most popular video he ever did, and never talked about it ever again. And I was like, well, that's something you should talk about, like, especially if he's going to do it for the next 9 years. And especially if that's something that can be passed on to others. And if it spreads across the league, it's going to be a disease and it's going to ruin the game. And it seemed to be doing that. Like not last year. Last year, Bauer said, watch guys, what happens when I do it. Nobody punishes me, you know? So the entire league watched and they go, nobody punished him. He won a Cy Young. It was $130 million. So boom, it exploded. It exploded, and I'm watching, and I'm like, wow, a lot of guys are doing it. And you're getting the argument 90% of the league was doing it, and it wasn't ever 90% of the league. You know, it wasn't ever 90% of the league. 90% of the league will use maybe something, you know, they'll use rosin and some sweat, and they'll be like, that's foreign substance, like sweat. And I'm like, no, it's not. Or like some extra sunscreen on your forearm. Like baseball, you know, aficionados don't bitch that out. They don't have any problem with that. But with, you know, gluing your fingers to the ball, adding 20, 30, well, not 20, 30% more spin, right? That's what was being added to some of these pitches. And it's not the old, I'm using it for control, which is the worst argument. I'm using it for the safety of the hitter. It was an argument that has been used by pitchers forever.
For ages.
It's for safety. No, it's not. It's to strike you out. It's just that. That's the only thing they care about. They're pitchers, and they may seem like they're on your team, but as soon as they're on another team, they hate you because you're a hitter. There's a big difference between pitchers and hitters, and pitchers are all in a big group together that are like, hey, this is for your own good. Sticky stuff on my finger is helping you. And there's so many hitters who digested that and like, you know, I'll let them use the sticky stuff. I don't want to get hit in the face. And then it got too far.
And here's the thing. I mean, granted, like you don't want them to get hit. Granted, I can understand as a hitter when the pitchers are saying that, and it's like, well, I mean, I don't want to be the next like Giancarlo Stanton when I took a ball off the face, or the next Mike. Like I think probably the fear of it of being like, hey, we're doing this because, you know, otherwise things could get ugly. I mean, as a hitter, like that can I mean, I could understand where, you know, it could be like, hey, I don't want to, you know, die over here.
No, absolutely. But there has to be that respect level that the pitcher's going up there. Like the last 20, 30 years of baseball have been a way to get the pitcher to throw it as hard as he can and spin it and get as much break as he can. And that's the only focus. The focus is not go up there and throw pitches that if you make a mistake, they won't kill a guy. That's not what they teach. They don't, it's throw it 102 and spin it with everything you got. And if your shoulder blows out, we'll get you Tommy John, and then we'll do it all over again. And then hopefully it holds together.
This time.
It's not about, it's about more. It's not about less. You know, generation ago was best pitchers would subtract. They would add and subtract, you know. Now it's just add. Now it's just more, instead of I'm gonna, he's on my fastball. Well, he's on my fastball at 94. Maybe I throw it with a little bit more break at 91 and I spot it in a different location and I try to get it out that way. It's not that. It's not this, it's more this. It's more power. And that I feel has, you know, led to more inaccuracy, and you're gonna hit by pitch is now like it was and is higher than it was when they intentionally threw it, guys.
Yeah.
You know, so because back then they could throw the ball that hard, but they didn't want to kill the guy unless they hit a 2-run home run in the first inning and then hit you in the ribs.
Yeah,
you know, so it was almost like hit by pitch was safer when they intentionally were doing it, because they didn't really want to drill you in the head. They wanted to get you in the ribs, make a statement, and then you came up the next time and you were thinking about that. Now that was in your head, right? Mm-hmm. It was, and now that seems evil, but it's like there's something, I would rather prefer lower hit by pitch with that mentality than higher hit by pitch that's accidental. Right? You see the pitchers and they're like, oh no, back like Goose Gossage and Bob Gibson, they hit the guy and go to first, next guy, you know, because they were doing it intentionally and they weren't doing it to kill you. They were doing it to send a message. Mm-hmm. And it's like you watch those old ball players, and the old ball players, when they're like, hey, what was it like to face Bob Gibson? They go, oh, that was crazy. You know, they laugh when they go into that fear mode that they had, right? But the respect was equal. It feels like you can still feel that respect, that like he drilled me a few times. He didn't drill me in the head though.
Yeah. Thank God.
And so it's just, once again, I can talk about that individual idea for 45 minutes and just go off on it. But because there's so many different storylines, like we said, coming off of this one thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've been great with talking about all that. It's been awesome to see. I mean, one of the I've been watching like different videos, and even like people I know who weren't even really in on the story have gotten into it now. Like my dad was texting me last night, and he just goes, Garrett Cole's spin rate's down 568. I was like, oh wow, it's pretty out there.
And you with Cole, like Cole is he's gonna fall back a bit, and he's not going to be 1.48 ERA Garrett Cole who strikes out 330, but that doesn't mean that he's not an ace still.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
he's still an ace. And the one point that nobody's making, which is my favorite point, is that his whiff rate has decreased, but it's still hard as hell to hit his 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah. So you take away the whiff rate, so he'll like a normal at bat for him will sometimes be like 5-6 pitches for a strikeout. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now it's like 2 pitches for a ground ball out, you know, and he's kind of turned back more into Pittsburgh Garrett Cole. Yeah. And he gets to the 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, now 10, 15 pitches less than where he was when he was strikeout Garrett Cole. Yeah. And it's like Boone is like, you're at 80, you're going out for another inning. And it's like, he may give up a run or 2 more, but he's out there longer. And you're not worried about going to the pen after 100 pitches, 6 1/3, you know? So it's like where everyone feels like everyone's under the idea that offense is just going to blow up, and offense has gotten better. Yeah. But you're seeing outs acquired differently. Like you don't have all these swings and misses. So it's like second pitch could be a ground ball out. Like one of the first games I watched when they were a couple days away from the full rule enforcement, I watched Pittsburgh. I watched a 4-pitch inning by JT Brubaker in Pittsburgh, and 4-pitch inning. And it was 80 seconds long. The inning was 80 seconds, and he got 3 outs on 4 pitches. Yeah. It's just like, well, we love strikeouts, and we love FIP, and we love whip, and we love all that. But if you're giving up weak contact and what's happening is an occasional base hit here and there, but you're getting outs fast and you're able to pitch deeper, that's where the total lack of understanding in these stats and the over usage of these stats are like, well, what's his FIP? And you're like, well, this guy's FIP is a little bit higher, but the ball's always in play and he gets more double plays and it's faster and he gets to pitch more and he can pitch more innings. And so it's almost balancing out because the outs are just being acquired differently now. Yeah. And you understand how good these damn fielders are. You're seeing some amazing plays all of a sudden, triple plays, plays at second base and for amazing stabs by center fielders. It's just like web gems came back. It seems like overnight, you know, and that's just great for the game.
No, it's amazing for the game, frankly. And, you know, it's great to see defense and all those other things, you know, re-enter. I mean, you know, just seeing all the, you know, controversy go down, though, it's been crazy to see as of late. You know, obviously last night and going into it, you know, one of the things that I really wanted to touch on was, you know, we're used to seeing Mad Max Scherzer and like, you know, as Mad Max and, you know, he's, you know, for being like just an animal on the mound. But we saw pissed off Max Scherzer last night because he got checked, you know, multiple times for sticky substances. Yeah. And I think he was ready to choke out Joe Girardi on when it happened.
I've heard a bunch of things where he was checked before even the game started.
Oh, geez.
Right. He then was checked twice before Girardi instituted the challenge check. And the challenge, like a lot of people, I put up a video about that and I'm totally 100% on Max's side.
Yeah.
Max does this.
Yeah.
Like Max does this. If he's got something in his hair, which he's sweat a ton his entire life because he's always pumped with adrenaline. That guy's always at max level because that's his name. It's a perfect name. He's always at the max, you know? And when they came out and like Girardi has had the ability to do that challenge for 15 years.
Yeah.
And he has.
No, I mean, John Farrell did it with Michael Pineda. Like it's something you've been able to do. Like, it's not like you haven't, like it's not like with this rule change, you were never able to like, you know, you were never able to like, it's not like you like, it's not like I could never say, hey, I want to check Kami over here because I think he has something on his, glove. You could always do that.
Yes, you could always do it.
But it's the fact that now that there's some rule changes, now people are saying that they want to do it. And the thing that's fishy about it in my mind is that, oh, now they're only doing it when you're beating me good. Now I want to check you. But it's really just like, okay, maybe there are guys that are doing it and are beating you, but try to understand that Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer. Like, guess what? If Freddie Peralta is doing it to you and nothing on Freddie Peralta, maybe be like, okay, there's something there. But when it's a guy like Max Scherzer, a Jacob deGrom, like it's kind of just knowing the situation. And especially if they're checking him so vehemently. I mean, I can completely understand how Max Scherzer was just so done with it. Like he literally looked like he was going to kill someone.
I thought he was going to come kill me.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to track me down and kill me because I have a little bit to do with it. But like the thing that Girardi has always had the ability to do this challenge, but hasn't.
Yeah.
You've never seen video of Joe Girardi going, I'm challenging now from 2017. There's no video of that, right? Like he might have done it one time for the Yanks. I'm just assuming he did one time in his career.
Probably, but
to be on day 2 of enforcement and it's being enforced in front of you.
Yeah.
And in the middle of an inning, you demand enforcement when it's already been enforced. I was like Davey Martinez. I wanted to like, I was like, I want to hold you back, Max, but I kind of want to join.
Yeah.
Because I could not believe that Girardi did that.
You almost want to hold him back, but just pretend he gets out of he just slips through and it's like, oh no.
Exactly. Because the clout that Max has.
Oh my God.
Like, and like, I don't want to talk down about Joe Girardi, but he won world championship with the Yankees. Okay, like he's won one world championship as a manager with the. You should win every 5 years if you're a man. I could win every 5 years as a manager of the Yankees. I know that's ridiculous to say. I could win every 5 damn years with that damn team. Okay, they have everything at their disposal, and they try to just put a bunch of right-handed power hitters and assume that that's how they're going to win a World Series. It's just ridiculous. Okay, but. He's won one World Series and then he's gone to the Phillies and they don't make the playoffs and they get Bryce and they don't make the playoffs and they stumble and they falter. And you realize that unless he has the #1 payroll in the game, he's not really competitive.
Yeah.
And sorry, Joe, but that's kind of the truth. And for you to go after and to prove that in the moment, Max wasn't doing anything. You pissed him off.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? It's like he strikes out the next guy and stares you down. Like, you pissed off Max Scherzer. Do you think that's going to go well for you? That's
No.
not. You don't want to piss off Max Scherzer. That's a guy who's going to harness it, and he's going to
pissed
dominate
enough.
you more, right? And that's just not a smart managerial move. You know he's not cheating.
Yeah.
He's been checked 3 times in 3 innings, and we're in the 3rd inning, and you check him again only to, I don't know what that was. But no, I don't think anybody's on his side. I don't think Phillies fans are on his side. And
no,
it was a bonehead move. It
was a stupid move. And I mean, I'm seeing the stuff with it go down. I mean, I'm wondering, like, I think one of the things that, I kind of overlook going into it is like, hey, how are these checks going to like, affect like some of these like, high drive pitchers, like a guy like Max Scherzer when he's trying to get in the zone, the guy's like, hey, I need to see your glove. Like, I don't know exactly how that's going to affect a guy like him. And I'm also wondering, now that we're seeing Joe Girardi use this, like, is this going to be try to be like some sort of a deception technique where coaches are trying to like call guys out and get them off their rhythm? I hope it does not become that, but yeah, but you know better than me in baseball. But like, here's the thing: you know better than me. When one guy starts to do something and thinking he can get thinking he can get an edge, rather, everyone is going to try to hop on that. And I'm really hoping that isn't the case here.
Well, I feel like okay, this is an interesting thing that it's once again a small thing that it is created within the game. Yeah. And what replays have done is it's taken the emotion out of the manager coming out onto the field. He challenges. He looks to his bench coach. Bench coach is on the phone. He gets the news from the video crew that it's challengeable. They get the signal, and then they go this. That's before it was like, what are you talking about? He's safe. He'd go out there and he'd kick dirt and he'd just get all pissed off. And it was great. And it was some of the best moments. Like, even if it was wrong or right, you just sat there and you just ate your popcorn and you're like, oh, I love this part of the game.
This is great. Yeah, exactly.
And then the replay made it another person somewhere else who's making the decision. So it's just like the umpire's like, you can't be mad at me. It was New York over there who did it. And it's just like, it's not my fault. And the manager's like, well, how do I yell at? So it's just like, they don't have any. But now, if you do this in the middle of a game, the way managers are going to yell and scream and get chucked. And so if that leads to more classic, Bobby Cox coming out and getting chucked, or Lou Piniella getting chucked, and more, you got 162 games. Everybody knows the plan. You can have a few more managers getting thrown out of games. And if don't get me wrong, I hate this, but this is something to get thrown out of. And this is something to get the entire fan base. If you're at home and the visitor team does this, do you know how mad the boos that you're going to get? Like, you're just going to rile up that fan base. And if it creates passion in any way, shape, or form, I like that. I just hate
it's Bush League.
It's do it in game like that.
No,
I hate the way that happened. And they said in game, what if somebody's throwing a no-hitter and you challenge them, 2 outs in the 9th just to get them,
riled up?
Why would you and just the thought that someone could do that? It's just like, if Joe Girardi did it there when it really didn't matter in the 3rd inning of a game in June, why wouldn't he be doing it?
Game 7 of the World Series.
Game 7 of the World Series, right? When it mattered, not just for the individual, but for the team, and when it really mattered. That it didn't matter there. So that being transposed and put into a moment that incredibly does matter, never thought about that. Yeah, wasn't thinking about that when all this started. But wow, it could.
Yeah, it could get ugly there. Now, I mean, now it looks like now that Max is off the mound, it looks like he had a bit of fun with it. I guess he was having the umps check Bryce Harper's hair for illegal substances today. Had him do a substance check over there, and Max was like dying in the dugout, having a great time with it.
Yeah, like I said, he's just so full of passion. Is there a more passionate baseball player?
I mean, it's tough. Matt, he's up there. I mean, it's been ridiculous. Like, you saw him just out there. He's like chucking everything off. You then also saw it with Sergio Romo. He was like literally just dropping his pants, just saying like, check me.
I love that. It's the I put the Steve Lyons. He's a commentator now.
Yeah.
Steve Lyons, and he did
Yeah.
the
He does he
dropped
does
his
stuff with the
pants.
Red Sox.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it dropped his pants that one time when he, I don't know, I can't remember if he slid into first base or
Yeah,
what, but he adjusted
yeah,
himself. But
I think he slid into first, and I think like probably I don't know if he had like a practice moment where he thought oh like no one can see me, but he pretty much like took his pants off in front of a whole stadium.
and that's Max. Max was doing that. Max like, I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show myself to everyone here if
Yeah,
that's what you
I
want.
do not care.
It was out of like Major League or something. It was so great though.
Oh my god,
It's so
it was
great, man. It was so
awesome.
entertaining. It was just so entertaining.
Mhm. No, I mean it's been amazing. I mean, you know, I don't know how they're gonna get to how they're gonna get through this season so far. I mean, I know you've mentioned so far, on your channel that it may have been like the implementation of this may have been, probably too soon. And I guess on your channel you had said probably wait till the All-Star break. It would have given them a better chance to, kind of adjust to this. And I
Mhm.
think we're probably seeing some of the residual effects of them not doing that and just saying on to some random week in June, hey, we're gonna start checking you guys like we're the TSA.
I don't know where the brain trust in Major League Baseball is, because it was like I was doing videos and I was being totally like hypothetical that it was gonna the problem they would want to solve the problem. And I was like, if you guys do, like, this was like early May and nothing was really being talked about. It still moved the
Oh
mound
yeah.
back discussions, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, if they want to start enforcing this law and rule in the game, you got to almost give them a spring training's worth of time to find
Yeah.
themselves. Okay. And then 2 weeks later, Josh Donaldson comes out doing his stuff. All the big players, Real Muto, Trout's talking. Michael K's talking about drilling Josh Donaldson. It's the number one story.
Oh my
And
god.
now it's in baseball's lap, and they're like, oh, what do we do? 7 days? Like, who came up with that idea? This is such an arbitrary, out of nowhere number. 1 week, and it's just, and a lot of people say, hey, they're cheating, make them stop now. And I'm like, the arm is a fickle mechanism, it's.
Yeah.
And I think with Bieber, I was watching Bieber's game where he's playing Seattle.
Yeah.
Wasn't using any foreign substance I didn't even know he was a foreign substance user, honestly.
I did
I
not
didn't
either.
know.
It
Did
surprised me.
not know. And I'm watching him, and Seattle's just putting swings on everything. His curveball just hangs out over the middle of the plate now. His cutter doesn't. It just kind of, he overthrows it or he underthrows. And Seattle's just getting to him. Backup players are ripping doubles, and I'm like, ooh. And then in the third inning, he starts. The glove is different, and he starts doing this. And by the fifth inning, he's out because he didn't warm up.
No,
That's a
with
new
that stuff.
point. That's a new. The mechanics are different.
Yeah.
You got that stuff on your fingers. You've got to redial yourself into the plate, and that takes complete body mechanics.
Oh yeah.
And to just try to alter that in the third inning of a game that you warmed up normal, and now you're going to try to use foreign substance, or to even do it the other way. You're using it and then you stop. It's a complete. You're throwing a wrench in the engine of a car.
Yeah.
And John Means, 2/3 of an inning against Cleveland.
I saw that. That was ugly.
No hit them. They were no hit twice this year. You're thinking John Means is going to come in, and this might be another no hitter, right?
Yeah.
Gives up 2 home runs in the first inning, gets 2 outs. And I didn't see, like, it didn't look like, obviously he felt something probably in his arm or something, but like, it looked like to me like everybody came in and had a conversation. And how do I know that he's not just saying, I'm going to get really, really blown up today if you leave me in? I kind of want to still have all-star numbers come July. Can you just take me out, throw me on the DL for 2 weeks? And it really helped me out.
So you think it's like the Rich Hill situation in the 2018 World Series when he apparently told guys where he told Dave Roberts to take him out?
It, like, because you're looking at him and he's not grabbing anything. He's not
he's also not like trying to work the arm and trying to be like
DeGrom's shoulder issue when he went 3 innings against when they pulled him out not last start but the start before. He went 3 innings, struck out 8, And in the third inning, you see him and he's starting to go like this. And they come out, they're like, what's going on? And in between innings, they didn't send him out for the fourth. And you could see that there was like, he's like, my shoulder's a little sore. And so that had something to it. You know, you understood that move. He'd been a little bit injury prone this year. So, you know, it made sense. But this, it was like everything just, I'm not saying he wasn't hurt. Okay. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, but of course, in my mind, it makes me think how do I know here?
Yeah. It always makes you question.
It's such a coincidental moment for now, you know, you're not doing it. He's not doing the, you know.
Oh boy. Here we go.
That's the John meme, right? 15 times he has to do this so that the 13th time he can do that and then do it 3 more times and you not notice it, right? Like he's not doing that anymore. So he's not doing foreign substances, and then boom, boom, everything's getting ripped, everything's hanging. His head's getting, maybe his neck was sore because he's doing this so much. But like, I just, how do I know, right? So that's mean.
Honestly, that's
mean. I'm even using the word mean when I'm talking about John Means, but I don't know. I don't know what the case is. So I don't want pitchers getting hurt, and I don't think 7 days was a good idea.
No, it definitely wasn't a good idea to throw that on. I mean, it did not work whatsoever. And here's the thing, like I'm not saying that like when I was hearing the ruling come down, like there was like maybe some early reports, and I was like hearing like I don't think there's any like truth to this, but I think like this guy Hubs over at Barstool Sports, he is like a big Yankee fan. Like I think he was like, you know, pissed off about the whole Garrett Cole thing, and he came out originally saying, like, I don't know if he wrote a piece or if someone like reported to him, but I thought I originally saw something over on that end of them saying that they're gonna be taking the rosin bag off the mound. They're taking away sunscreen, like they're doing all this stuff. I was like, well, if they're doing that, then this is like way too, like they overstep their bounds totally. Yeah. They're so like, I'm not saying like, so we're not even saying like like we don't want these guys like throwing with bare hands. Like if they want to, you know, get a better grip on the ball, like if that's was their whole idea, then let them do that. But like again, like what they're using now is just pure like advanced, you know, and kind of it's, you know, helping them, you know, improve in their pitching. Like if like you actually had done a video, I believe it was like a little while ago, you went out, you were kind of just like hanging outside and you did a video of, I think you showed a like tree sap as a possible, obviously you weren't like talking about it as a solution, but you kind of went out, and I'll let you kind of maybe talk about it.
Yeah. So I got a lot of pine trees kind of like around my yard, and I took my dog for a walk, and I was just like, there's so much sap coming off the trees that I got this little like station for when I want to hit balls off a tee, and sap like drips on my bats, right? And it's sticky. It's sticky. But there was this video that had come out like 48 hours before of a Chicago Cubs fan who had gotten a foul ball or a ball out of the bullpen, and he hadn't done anything to it, and the ball was like it was just this, right? It wasn't going anywhere from his hand, and he was like, this is really, really sticky. And I'm like, so that's too sticky. Like that's when it's, you know, just when it's this
defying gravity.
Yeah, that's too sticky. And it's like tree sap is sticky as hell. You know, you got this concept of tree sap being sticky as hell. But when you put it on a ball, you coat it on your fingers, you put it on your hand, the ball still goes like this. You know, it slowly peels off your skin and falls, right? So there's a midpoint between nothing sticking and slowly sticking off, you know? And it's just like, well, at least that's in the middle. Yeah. You know, I don't want this. Yeah. If it sticks and you hear and it falls off, I'm like, I think that's the middle ground. I think we're kind of accepting that the ball is kind of sticky, but the stickiness can't hold the ball up against gravity and the forces acting upon the ball.
Yeah, because I saw you using it, and like, you know, like you were able to like, you know, you were able to like maneuver the ball around. Like I could tell that you had like a good grip on it, but when you let it go, it let go. And now we're not saying like, you know, players should go to, you know, every pine tree they see and get something like that, but you know, it's an idea of like, hey, like get something that can give you that grip of like, if you want that, you know, really, you know, like rough kind of feeling on a baseball that you can really control that, get something like that in it, because it doesn't look like it's going to be jacking up spin rates through the roof.
Yeah. It's not like it just seems like a middle ground. That seems like a middle ground to me. No stick, stick, semi stick, you know, let's just, and I wasn't going to go, and I've seen people go and do like create their own compounds, and they're trying to like come up with something. I'm like, this is just on trees.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how easy this could be if they wanted to go and just like take sap out of trees and go tap them and like literally use sap. I don't want them to use sap. Makes the ball smell really nice. This little pine smell to them, and it's kind of nice. But
oh god,
it's natural. It's, I don't know. It has to do. It's from a tree. Where the bats come from? It seems like you've contained it all within the same medium and the same form. It comes from nature. It's not some melted down rubber that you're using to.
Yeah, because I looked into pine tar, and it's like a very like hot compressed like it's like very like chemically like enhanced. Like it's
you've got to get the substance to be like, you don't go find pine tar. There isn't like a pine tar tree that just goops out like that.
Yeah.
Or
and I mean, I know we're talking about stuff being natural, like we're a bunch of like pot smokers, and it's like it's all natural, man. But no, but no, it's great.
It's just that it's not a concoction.
Oh yeah.
It's an all natural. It just seems like it goes with I don't know. It just seems like it goes with the bats for some reason. I don't know. Bats are coming from trees. Sap comes from a tree.
Why not?
Why not? It's in the middle. It's just naturally in the middle.
No, I mean, I know at Fenway Park, they have this thing called Fenway Farms, which is actually on the roof of the place where they like grow local produce. I feel like I'll just drive by Fenway one day. I'm just going to see giant pines just growing out of the place. It's just going to be wild.
Yeah. Like, why can't you just have a big pine tree farm where you go and you snip off the lower branches of the pine tree, and that's where the sap comes from. You just tap that, and you got an industry. You're just farming sap out of big pine trees, right?
And then the industry becomes into when the teams start to genetically modify the trees to who knows?
True. Yeah, there you go.
Who knows? We'll get some crazy, enhanced trees, and you're gonna get it'll basically be back to it's gonna be like, oh, this is the spider tack tree.
Yeah, that's
like, oh, great. All right, we're back to square one. Yeah, we're back to square one.
The other thing, that the big issue about that is the balls, right? Like that Rawlings makes the balls, and that Major League Baseball owns Rawlings.
Yeah.
So like one of my things, like, because I know pitchers hate the way that the balls feel now because they have been changed. Like, let's not, like, the pitchers deserve a little bit more respect in all this, because it's not like they came in and made bats smaller for hitters so that hitting would stop. They did affect the bat. I mean the ball. They did affect the ball, and you saw that what happened in 2019 with like homer ball, right? It was just boom, 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 everything.
I mean, it's also they've also it hasn't been like a gradual kind of like change to be like, hey, we're gonna change some things, or like here it's like you take a ball from the 2018 season, a ball from the 2019 season, and then a ball from this season, and it's like a completely different sport at that point. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I had made the point that like they should go back to like, I don't know, you have to play it backwards, but they should go back to Spalding, right? Like, Spalding was the originator. They were pretty much the first like sporting goods company in America for baseball. Mm-hmm. And for 80 years they created the baseballs, and then in like 1974 they switched over to Rawlings, and that wasn't an issue until they bought Rawlings.
Yeah.
And then controlled their means of production, right? And so it's just like, maybe collectively in the off season you bargain it back to Spalding. You take that $400 million purchase the league made, and you say, that was a dirty purchase. You did that to affect the game internally, and go back to it being a company that has no affiliation, and you just buy the balls from them, and why not go back to the damn company that, like, Spalding still makes baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Spalding still makes sporting gear. Give them a whole bunch of money, say, make our balls again, Yeah. And I think you would kind of get rid of that, at least being an argument. Yeah. Because owning the baseballs is like, they don't own the bats.
Yeah.
Well,
it sure would be nice to dream. I mean, we are at least seeing one dream kind of, living out like live in front of us right now, though, in baseball, and that is then the astonishing season that Jacob deGrom has had. I did want to go over to there because you've mentioned him a couple times throughout the show. I did not want to ignore that because Jacob deGrom, oh my God, he has been electric so far. You know, we were kind of like hinting at him probably the last time we talked. His ERA was down to like probably like 0.7. It was like, wow, this is really good. His ERA is down to 0.50. Like, and he's
like a 7.30 ERA plus.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And like, I didn't understand ERA plus. I still don't. But when you're talking about like great guys like Pedro Martinez, not even breaking like a 300 for that stat. Yeah. And this guy's like almost at like 7. Yeah. And this guy's at like 725. It's like insane.
Yeah, it really is. And what you've seen also is with the foreign substances, you've seen the people that were in grasp of him, that were in kind of, you know, within reach in some way, shape, or form, they've fallen back now. You know, those other guys that were sniffing at the, you know, incredibly low ERAs, like Burns has fallen back, Means has fallen back, Garrett Cole has fallen back. So that separation you see is like and nothing has come off that guy in the last 2 times he's been out. That 3 inning, 8 strikeout. Like you put that performance together with his 5 inning performance against the Braves. Like, I'm not a Mets fan. I'm a baseball fan. So I'm a fan of every team. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a bunch of Mets gear. Okay. I've never seen anything like this. This is the Sosa McGuire going after the home run record. This is DiMaggio's 56 game hit streak. Whatever happens here, even I got to find some more, even horribly, if it all falls apart and he doesn't make 1-1-2, the chase for it is everything. The chase for it amidst all of this crap that has gone on and all of this cheating, the silver lining is that there is this golden goose. There's this unicorn out there that is doing something that makes me proud to be a part of the human race. You know, I go, that I'm a human being like that guy is. That's one of us doing that, you know? And I remember this part of Ken Burns Baseball where these old writers are talking about what it was like in 1941 when DiMaggio was doing 56 games, the hit streak, and how they weren't able, like other places in the country didn't have it televised to them. They didn't have the radio broadcaster. But so they would go into the diner, or they go into wherever they go into in the day. And the only question that you would hear is, did he get one? You know, you didn't have to say, did Joe DiMaggio get one? You said, did he? And you didn't have to say the sport. You say, did he get one? It's such a basic, to the point question. You're like, what does that mean? But everybody knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Everybody in 1941, during that 56 game hit streak, meant, they understood what did he get one means. Okay. That meant one thing. Now it's going to turn into, did he allow one? Mm-hmm. Did he give up one? You know, that's going to be the same thing in New York with DiMaggio, DeGrom, you know, and it's that thing. I haven't experienced, I don't know, Cal Ripken chasing after Gehrig's, like the Iron Man record. I guess that's kind of there. Yeah. It's something that you're like, you got to be a part of it. And it builds to this amazing, like, crescendo moment where we all just we can all just embrace this game and love it. And there's really nothing else but that. That's what this is, you know. Yeah. And I hope that sports, other sports, like just sport itself, can understand what this is. This is a man landing on the moon. That's what this is. You know,
it's remarkable what's happening right now.
It's an achievement. It's climbing Everest. That's what this is. It's something like that. It's not just baseball at this point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just hoping at this point that, you know, whether DeGrom can, you know, get it or not, I'm just hoping that the man stays healthy, because I cannot imagine, you know, what this entails for someone, because he's left his last couple starts. Now, I don't know if the Mets are just trying to, you know, hold on to this thing as long as they can. And like, he goes 1 inning next time and they take him. I'm not saying that they'll do that, but I'm just like, I hope that he is in good health. I hope that he can continue this dominance as long as he can. And, you know, it's been amazing to see.
Like, I was still thinking about it this way. He was drafted as a shortstop. Okay. Drafted as a shortstop who started pitching at like 23, 24. Made it to the pros at 26. Like, he's been doing this for 7-8 years. You know, like pros, like high school phenom pitchers had been pitching since they were 11.
Yeah.
You know, 10 years old, they've been pitching, right? He starts pitching when he's 24 years old. He's still learning.
Yeah.
He's still figuring out his body out there. He's still figuring these things out. And like people will say, oh, he's on steroids or he's on something like the guy's lean as can be. There's no juiced up muscle on that guy.
No.
And you can see the progress of his mechanics taking him to this.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything like it. He's got the comparisons to Pedro are amazing because the four seamer is the best fastball in the game. Pedro had the best fastball in the game. The breaking ball, the slider, like it's different. It's a different break than Pedro's. It's the best slider in the game. It's not this slider that breaks this much. It breaks like this much really, really hard at 93. It's coming in and then it goes meh, and it just goes and it just cuts away from the bat. And it's not this super crazy, nasty lateral moving slider. It's this little slight move, and it's terrifying. And then the changeup has a little bit of break the other way, and it falls off the table, and it's 91, and it's the best changeup in the game at 91. He's got the three best pitches in the game.
Like,
you know,
like a change, like if you're touching 91 with your changeup, and like I can't even like touch 80 with a fastball. Like if I'm throwing my arm out, like I'm not coming close to that. Like it's insanity. Like I remember just thinking, like, you know, back in the day when Aroldis Chapman was going for like when he had like 106, like me and my buddies, we were joking like, oh, we could probably throw a changeup like 90 miles an hour. And like now guys are actually throwing changeups for 90 miles an hour. And I'm like, this doesn't like even compute with me.
And for that moment to come where it's just like, let's find out what pitcher is what. Let's find out who is dependent on this stuff, who uses it to aid them, who really isn't going to drop off, and who isn't using it at all. And like he was the first guy they checked.
Of all the people
they checked. And he's like, me? And he's like smiling, and he takes his glove off, and he's like, come on. Like, I don't have anything to hide here. Here's my hands. Here's check me out. Do it again next inning. I don't care. And he's just smiling through it. And like McCann's there, and McCann's like, we all know, Jake, you know, we know that you're not doing this.
Absolutely.
And that did you see the first at bat of the game against Acuna with the three straight fastballs?
I might have.
Like he just always, don't get me wrong, he's always throwing that heater, but he goes 100, 100, 101.
Yeah.
And he foul tipped the second fastball, and then he juiced it up to 101 and just blows away Acuna, who's the ultimate first pitch fastball hitter. Yeah. This guy is a first pitch fastball hitter. It's like, throw him a changeup. No, I'm gonna throw him my fastball because he can't hit. This is the ultimate guy who looks for this specific situation and hits like 500 when he gets a first pitch fastball and he swings out. And DeGrom's like, not mine. And you see Freddie Freeman coming up after him, and Freddie Freeman's choking up like 6 inches on the bat just to get some bat control. And it's just like, he plays on a different league. He plays at another level. And I don't doubt that he goes out at night and stops crying, you know, with his fastball. He just, here's your purse, ma'am. You know, like, I don't doubt that he just does that.
It's, you know, it is superhuman. I cannot explain it. Like, I mean, there is, I forget. I'm seeing this one guy right now. He's in high school, but I have to look him up right now. Let's see. His name is, I just know him. He goes to Rhode Island College. His name is Terry Murray. He was playing in like some, like, I think summer league. He's through 13 innings pitched. He has like a .69 ERA, 17 strikeouts, 3 walks. And like someone said, my friend Ethan ended up saying like, these are DeGrom numbers. And it's like, yeah, this guy's doing this at like Rhode Island College and like, you know, small school in Rhode Island. Like DeGrom's doing this against the best hitters in the world. It doesn't even make any sense. It's insane.
I can't get my video game DeGrom to that ERA. He's at like .68 now, and I'm trying to wither him down. He's got too many innings to get it down now at this point. But it's just like, and then I made a video about like how DeGrom was at like .58 or something, and I was at .67, and now he's dropped like to .50, And I'm chasing him downward. Like, was he giving up like 5 runs all season, and he's got 5 RBIs and he scored 3 runs. Like, he's technically
it's
an inverted. He's scored runs as a pitcher. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
His pitching has turned into offense. It's never happened before. He creates more offense. I don't even.
It's insanity. No, I mean, I've been doing similar things in MLB The Show. I've been trying to mess around with Hinge and Ryu. I mean, I've thrown perfect games with guys. Like, I've done like a lot of stuff. I mean, I haven't even cracked like below 1 yet. Like, it's so hard to get down there. Like you can have a great start, and then when it gets so down to the nitty gritty, like dropping down, like eventually when it comes to dropping down like a 10th, like it takes a lot to even do that at times. So the fact that he's done all this, I don't even know how to even understand it anymore. It's insane.
It really is. And it's one of those things that's a season-long journey. He doesn't get that number until the last pitch that he throws of the season. That's when we know. That's when it's over. It's over when he throws that last pitch, and he's either over or he's under. And that takes the entire year.
Yep.
And so that's a journey. That's an absolute journey that non-baseball fans who are just kind of in and out of the sport, dependent on whether their team's succeeding, they have to get on that story. And I hope this brings so many people to the game.
And I cannot wait to see it all go down. It's been amazing. Now, Kami, I know that also on your channel you like to talk about other things as well in baseball. I believe on the last show we may have talked about moving the outfield fences back as one of the solutions that you had for the game. Another solution that I kind of forgot to touch on was kind of more directed towards player safety. And you did kind of make like a more updated video on it, but I forgot about this one at the time. You were thinking about possibly doing something maybe to the first base bag over there due to a lot of like knee injuries, things going on over there. I'll kind of let you kind of explain like your kind of position with that.
I did this video. It was after Acuna had locked his knee up. I think he was playing the Blue Jays. And he locked his knee up kind of on a misstep to first, and then he was down, and you were like, did he tear everything? The way that you see that his leg like locks, and you're worried that the entire knee exploded. And you've seen video like Bryce did it a few years back. And
I think Manny Machado did it like a decade ago or something like that.
Yeah, you hit the bag badly, and anything can happen, whether you short step it, you lock your knee on impact on that, like, because it's the bag is like this kind of curve, and when you hit it, you're kind of hitting this mound that really stops you. It just jacks your knee backwards, and a lot of people go, oh, just run through the bag properly. Like, we all know how to run through the bag. Come on, I've done that for all my entire from 12 to 14. I never blew my knee out. And it's like, yeah, okay. These guys are really trying to get there as fast as
and they're running at like ridiculous speeds too.
And like I think the most offensive thing to the fans is to try to say, hey, what if there was like something like a hybrid softball bag?
Oh my God. I do not get me started with the softball bag. I hate the softball bag.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But it's just like the idea that it's not a softball bag, but it's something that's a little, like, even if you took the bag, what if you took the bag and you split it between, like, I don't know, I just make it, my idea was always to do the more old school type bag.
Yeah.
The bag they had in the 40s and the 50s that was more, more cushion to it, right? It was more like this was happening when you're stepping on it, right? And it kind of came with your foot a little bit. And now it's just this like vulcanized rubber mound that just,
oh my God, it's like a pitcher's mound.
Yeah, it's just rock solid. There's no give to it. And you don't see any issues really with second base, third base. No. I don't think those bags are issues.
because
The issue is that,
people are either going in standing, and it's like
yeah,
like if it's a standing double, you're slowing down, and like you're like sometimes when you even come up on the bag, like you slide off and you're doing like a little clap thing, but you're not like extending over to the bag. You're not reaching your foot out.
not
It's
running through the bag, because if you run off the bag, you're out,
exactly. So
right?
first base is like the only place where you really kind of see that.
Yeah, it's a
And
sprint.
yeah.
It's a 100-meter dash situation where you're trying to get to this spot and you're allowed to blast through it another 100 feet. You're just able to keep running because it's literally you're sprinting to a finish line. And so if they can turn it into, if they can maybe lower the bag a little bit, but then I don't want to take away first baseman reaching with their foot, because they're literally like reaching with that foot to try to feel the bag, and you don't want something too small that they skim over the top of it. But whether it's lowered or it's just a little bit softer or just a little bit bigger and a little bit more defined on where the runner has to run, which is still a huge issue.
Oh yeah.
They want you to come into play while running on a line that's out of play.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then when you get Trey Turner like called out in the World Series, that's kind of scary stuff, that we don't have that issue down to the point where running in a straight line to first base can get you out. You're out if you run in a straight line to first base if you're a righty batter. That line for a righty hitter takes you try to go point A to point B to home to first, and you're out. So
yeah. No, I mean, and I think a big part of it too, that causes a lot of the issues is that, each game that you go into, and this is also part of the merchandise thing, like every single base is sold on eBay, and like every person gets a new base, and they use not the same, they use different bases, almost like either every game or every series has like a special set of bases. And like, you're putting these like brand new slabs of rubber down there, and they don't have like that same kind of cushion that a base would have over time. I was at my old high school, taking BP with my brother because he was doing stuff down there, and I was looking at the bases, and they're similar kind of bases, but they've been run on for years and years and years. And you spray paint them when they get dirty, and you spray paint them white, and they look good as new. But when you do that, they have that kind of give to them. Obviously if they get like torn up, then you'd get new ones, but they have but because they've been run on so many times, they have that give to it. So it's like, if you were to use them more, and like not everything was brand new, you could even just break a base in like that.
Yeah, and just as long as we all know that every other base, like home plate, is something that you run through too, and it's flat.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the only two places that you take that trajectory. You run through home plate because you're done, or you slide into it and touch it. First base is like that too. You run through it. So it's somebody had said something where it's like, have the runner run past a line. They're not even trying to touch a bag. They're trying to touch a line, and then when you go to replay, you see if any part of their body has crossed that line. You put that line, you put a digital kind of line up from your chalk mark line,
almost like a racing, like a race kind of thing.
Yeah,
I know.
And then the runner is running in his lane. He's not trying to divert himself into the bag. He's just running as fast as he can down that line. And I was like, I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting, because then your steps don't matter. At least there, your final step doesn't matter. You're trying to extend a foot, sure, but you're not trying to extend a locked leg to, like, that's not it. Like you might see people reaching their hands out now. It's kind of like it's not so much a slide as you're just reaching across the line. That might make you slightly faster in this situation. It may look a little different, might look a little weird with guys running with their damn hands out trying to cross a line. But
I think it would be more like a track finish where it'd probably be more of a track finish where they finish and like their head goes through, like that kind of a thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. I think, probably modifying the base would probably be more kind of my kind of a setup more, but it was even kind of reminding me, like, you think back to like Little League and stuff. Like, I don't know like when you played, but like for you, when you played on Little League, weren't like, you kind of think back to the bases, they were like these, like, very like rubbery, cushiony, like bases. And like, they were, obviously made for little kids, but they had a point to it. It was like, hey, we don't want these guys to be like sliding on the bases like they're ice. Like,
I never understood that, like, that was Like you started maybe when you were like really, really young with that like hybrid soft squishy ball. When you were like 7, they're like 6, 7, and they're
Yeah.
like throwing you the ball. And it's a baseball, but you can squish it a little bit. And you're like, and then
Yeah.
that's kind of like the bags were too. The bags were kind of softer. And then they're like, yeah, but the bags need to get harder the way the ball is going to get harder. And you're like, why?
Like,
You're not throwing the bags at me. You're not pitching the bags. Like the bags are just there for like leg like that. Why do you have to? Why do these have to get harder? I don't understand.
I mean, if they're
And
locked in, and it's like if like I know like those bags like used to like you could like pull them out and like there was nothing to it, but if they were like a older if they were like an MLB base where they go down in the ground, if you had a pole in them, I feel like they'd be like just as fine.
oh, like a one of those softer bags. Yeah, I think you could definitely
Yeah, no,
pin one of those bags down to the ground, and it may move a little bit in its spot, but it's just like, especially at first base, you're not looking for you're not the guy's not holding on to the bag. He's just making contact with the bag. As soon as he made contact with the bag,
Mhm.
he can move. That contact can doesn't have to maintain contact. So if all you're
Yeah.
looking for is a contact point and somebody to why can't it be a little bit softer? I don't understand it. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
No, I
I don't
mean,
understand running into an inclined like, ow, my knee exploded. Oh, like you don't want to lose anybody for that.
no,
There's so many
exactly.
ways to get hurt in this game, playing 162 games in 180 days. You'd never like
Mhm.
you've seen such talented players, usually the fastest ones, who are dependent on their legs, go down from this, and then you're just like, oh no, Mickey Mantle, that's what happened. He fell into a drainage ditch and it blew out his knee, and it wasn't the same. And you never want that to happen to Trout or Acuna or anybody with speed.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so
No, exactly. Now, I will say this: if we do try to modify the bag, we probably should do something a little more modern than the pillowcases. Because I ended up playing at this I was like on JV my freshman year. We played at like this inner city kind of against this like inner city team. We like, went to like this field, and they had like the legit like pillowcase bases, and we literally thought we stepped out of a time machine.
they're like nailed
it was like
into the
where the hell
ground.
are we?
There's a little piece of metal
There's
that
like
you
a
like nail in like a tent. Is it like those
oh no
ones?
there yeah I mean, it was like the cushions, like there was like belt. It was like belted in
Yeah,
with like the leather.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
was
you
like,
go in and you
man,
kind of like
this
nail
feels
in a
like
spike into the ground like a tent, and it can like turn all the way around, and it can.
yeah.
You know.
No, it was wild. No, it
Well,
was actually
I
wild.
definitely don't
And
mean
then
the full cushion, but like put it in between.
oh yeah, yeah, just make it a little softer. Now I know another thing I was thinking of was you were mentioning running into first base, all that stuff. It was making me think of this play. I think I don't know if I wasn't on the team, but I think this happened when I was on JV, and then the varsity team happened, and I think they ended up losing because of this because uh a kid went on first base, and when you're running, you establish where the base path is,
Mhm.
like where or at least like running or the baseline when you run out of the baseline, like you're talking about running as first base, it can change depending on how you start when you're running sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
I remember this kid literally did something that blew my mind because the pitcher was standing on the mound, and he was picking off multiple times. So what he proceeded to do was, when he established the baseline for himself, he sprinted into right field, like, and apparently this legally like counted. He like went like off, like basically past the second baseman into right field, and then somehow was allowed to go to second base. And there was like this crazy thing that went. Actually, no, I don't think he stole but I think the pitcher was so confused that he balked, and then the guy got to advance because of it.
Wow. And
It
he
was
just
something,
totally.
and yeah, no, I don't know how to explain it to you. Like this guy literally like went like into right field, and like the pitcher didn't know what was going on. Like he thought like the guy like either was injured or like I don't know, or like he thought it was drunk, or like, but I have no idea. But like this guy like basically like walks onto right field. The pitcher kind of like just steps off and is like, "What the hell's going on here?" The ump's like, "Balk," and he got to advance a second. It was the craziest thing apparently.
Wow. And
Wild.
and
Yeah, I've
and
never heard of that. And if we see that in the MLB, just saying, be
yeah,
aware.
just head off in the right field. Like Adrian
Yeah.
Beltre. Adrian Beltre did that once. I remember he was in a
Yeah,
pickle
in the
between
left field.
second and
Yeah.
third, and he just went out in the left. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ugh. but yeah, no. Another thing that we are known, we're known for doing on the show is trying to talk about things that our guests are interested in.
Mhm.
Kami, we had kind of hinted with you on the show. It was lightly discussed about your kind of your career in filmmaking and all
Mhm.
the different things that you did there. We had mentioned that you are writing a biopic on Tommy John, the
Mhm.
pitcher.
Yes.
So
So right here
I think
somewhere.
you did get.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you got the screenplay up.
I always
All
go
right,
get it
perfect. Yeah.
right here.
There it is. So and yeah, I saw the video you posted and it was approved by him, and like he literally said he's so pumped about the movie coming out
Yeah.
and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
What is the latest with that right now?
Um, so right now, we have people with in the Dodgers organization right now, and they wanted to kind of
Okay.
imagine that you wanted to get it. So we got it approved by Tommy. Now we
Mhm.
need kind of Dodgers approval because we need to shoot Dodger Stadium, and we want to
Okay. Wow.
kind of use the inner workings of Dodger Stadium, go there during the night, kind of shoot night shoots. And then we
Mm.
want Major League Baseball's authorization too, because you don't want to be like doing it without their approval and having to use like, you're not allowed to use authentic gear. And you have to like, there have been movies in the past that have been like, you want to do the Yankees, but you can't show the Yankee symbol. So you have to do this kind of like hybrid New York Mets Yankee symbol, and it's differently
Almost.
shaped.
Yeah, no,
And
it'll like I think there was like a TikTok I saw that made fun of it, and it was just like oh man, I'd love to play for the New York Titans one day. It's like
oh
what?
yeah, yeah. The Natural, I remember
Yeah,
did
the
that with the
Natural.
New
That's a
York
great example.
Knights.
The
Yeah,
Knights.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of like, if you don't have baseball, if you're going to do kind of, it's not just a straight positive story like The Rookie. you
Yeah,
know
and listen, the Natural works because it's like it's from a book. It's like
yeah,
that's what they're writing it about, and
it's very
it
mythical. Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah,
it works. But if it was like, but if you're doing a story about Joe DiMaggio, and it goes he played for the Brooklyn Blue Jackets. It's like
yeah,
what?
yeah. I remember they did recently there was a David Bowie like docudrama that came out,
Okay.
and they waited to the end to try to get the rights for David Bowie music, and they didn't give them the rights to the music. So it just kind of like the entire thing, I think, kind of fell apart, because why are you going to go watch a docudrama without any David Bowie music in it
Yeah.
about David Bowie, right? So it's just like so right now it's Dodgers and then Major League Baseball, and then we've got it. We have two guys. Like
You don't
I
have to
want to talk
spoil anything.
specifics, but I don't know if I'm actually allowed to talk specifics. I don't.
You don't have to. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, the idea is for it to be, probably a 60 to 70 million dollar full Hollywood production.
Let's go.
A-list cast, all that stuff. Yeah, and
There we go.
yeah, that's the idea, right? Like, and there's an independent website that we put it on called The Blacklist. We got a really, really high rating on
Okay.
that page. We got rated higher than some Best Picture winners. So,
All right.
so we're really optimistic, and we're really, especially now that COVID is lifted.
Oh yeah.
Movie productions are moving beyond just the super high budget tentpole films, and they're starting to make normal movies again.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully 2 years you'll see it maybe in theaters. I would say that seems like a nice amount of time from this point forward to hopefully see it on the big screen. And
I mean,
starting kind of more a trend to more baseball movies.
There's been like a real drought of them, and I mean, you were talking about it before the show that of all the stories that you could think about in baseball, you were talking about it. What are some other projects that you were working on? I know you talked to me possibly about like a Ted Williams movie, some other things like that.
Well, it's just like filmmakers think about the genre that they want to kind of do, and you think about like James Cameron's kind of science fiction, right? He did Titanic, but pretty much all the other stuff that he does is science fiction.
Yeah.
And it's just like I could do baseball. If that was my genre and I could only do baseball, I would do baseball, because it's like I could do a Ted Williams movie, have it be about baseball, and then it's about being a bomber pilot.
Yeah.
World War II. And if I want to do a war movie, I'll just do a Ted Williams war movie. and then he's doing Korean fighter jet missions in Korea, and then he's coming back and hitting 380
That would
at
be
like, you know,
that would be so baller.
and just about I think sports stories are always trying to find the deeper emotional story that's within, and sometimes they don't understand that the deeper emotional stuff within is the game. And like with Ted, to me, don't get me wrong, he had a family and things, but he wanted to hit. That's all he wanted to do. All he wanted to do was be the best hitter that ever lived. And that, why can't that be what it's about? Like, why can't that be the central purpose of the film, is his overwhelming drive to be the best at this? And it just seems like you have to go and do a romance for 30 minutes, or you have to go do something else. It's not about the baseball. It's got to be about something else. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It really just doesn't have to be about anything else. But that, like Ty Cobb. Did you ever see the Cobb movie?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they made a Ty Cobb movie in like 92.
Okay.
And it was with
that might have been why it was like probably it was before I was born. So
yeah, it was with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like,
okay. I think then I think I haven't seen it, but I know Tommy Lee Jones probably did that. Yeah.
And they did a movie of Ty Cobb when he was like on death's doorstep, and so he's really, really, really old. And then they have like a 30-second flashback of him stealing second base and using Tommy Lee Jones and pretending that he's younger, and I'm like, that's Ty Cobb's stories on the field.
Yeah.
Ty Cobb's moments happened on the field. And if you're going to do a Ty Cobb movie and you're not going to, you're going to make him 75 years old talking about these moments. No, I don't want to hear somebody talking about the moments. I want to see those moments. I want to see because that guy was a son of a bitch, racist bastard.
Yeah.
And he was the best baseball player at the time. That's enough. Like, let me see that. Let me see it on the field. Let me see him. Like a movie like 8 Men Out.
Yeah.
You see the story is interwoven with the baseball, and the baseball is the story. And it's just like, and it's like we've forgotten it. It has to be secretly about something else. It can't just be a movie about dinosaurs. It can't be just Jurassic Park with dinosaurs. We have to make a new super dinosaur. Like, because the dinosaurs are boring after you do dinosaurs 2 times. Like, no,
somehow not. Prehistoric creatures are boring, but
you have to change that in film. And it's like, no, you don't. If the story's good, you could go back and do Jurassic Park with the exact same dinosaurs that you did in the first Jurassic Park, and it would be just as good if you just had a great story and you told it right, as opposed to trying to find some sort of story that doesn't need to be there.
No, absolutely.
And add things that don't matter.
Right. So no, you're absolutely right. And I mean, I don't know. I was looking at all the stuff going down, and the idea of like, if I had watched 42, which is a great movie, and it had been Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. But if it had just been Chadwick Boseman sitting there talking about like, oh, I remember when Country Slaughter spiked me in the leg, like I wouldn't have been interested in it. It was seeing that stuff happen on the field got me interested in it, and it was like seeing him and Pee Wee Reese like interact with each other.
Yeah,
that was engaging for what it was. Oh, there goes my clapper again. Nice.
No, it's those moments, and it's the game is really, compared to football and compared to hockey and compared to basketball. If you can like an amazing baseball moment is like 4 seconds long. Yeah. It's like 6 seconds long, right? That's the play is usually no longer than 10 seconds. It's got to be a triple that's like for the ball to be moving around that long, right? So it's just like those moments are, and those moments mirror life so much. Like there's no other sport that mirrors life as much as baseball. People go, oh, baseball needs a salary cap. Does life have a salary cap? No, life doesn't have a salary cap. There's no salary cap in life. There shouldn't be one in baseball. It's like it's There's no body type in baseball. There's no, this is the body type of baseball. There isn't one. There's no ethnicity that succeeds above another. There's nothing, there's not, it's the most universal game there is.
Oh my
And
God.
it connects to life in so many different ways, but you think that you need to show, you think that they're not the same. You think that an incredible moment or an incredibly sad moment in somebody's life isn't the same as giving up that hit in the clutch moment of the game to cause the loss. You know, it's like those things are the same and they deserve to be told together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of oh, I had a bad game, and now we're over here dealing with it without seeing it. It's just like, and baseball can be done. Like I love seeing for Love of the Game. You remember that Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah.
Costner pulls off the old aged pitcher.
Oh,
you know, and he throws the ball and you believe it. And they put the broadcast around him and he carries the game as not only an actor, but as a player.
I mean, Costner is just an all-timer though with baseball movies. He loves the sport.
Absolutely. And
if you gave him a baseball script tomorrow, he would say yes.
Like, I wish I could get mine to him. I wish I could get but he's doing Yellowstone. Have you ever seen Yellowstone?
Yeah, my grandparents have been really into that. It's really good.
It's a really good show. It's a really good show. But yeah, no, he's an all-time great in the sport. And
oh my God.
I really wish like I could get it to him because I'd love him to play Dr. Frank Job.
Oh yeah.
In my Tommy John movie, be the old doctor who's, you know, like he'd play that perfectly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then Ryan Gosling is Tommy. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted Jonah Hill as Tommy Lasorda in like kind of makeup, you know. I think
oh my God, that would have been hilarious. If I saw that Jonah Hill was playing Tommy Lasorda. Oh my God.
I know it's a big age. That's like he's not nearly the same age, but if you done him up kind of like the way they do Christian Bale as
Dick Cheney.
Yeah. No, you know, that's like I think Jonah could just like lay into that and really have fun.
Oh, he could act the shit out of that. That would be awesome.
Yeah. That's the big acting role in it. That's because I let Lasorda like let loose and just be the big boisterous character in that thing. Well, Tommy's much more reserved and yeah. It'd be nice to just be able to do baseball movies for the next 30 years. That's for sure.
Oh my God. It'd be great. I mean, you know, one of the baseball movies that you had talked to me about, you know, going off the kind of idea that baseball really doesn't have like, you know, a specific type. It was, you know, surrounding these kids in New York. I think it'd be best if you kind of explained it to me, but it was a concept that you had talked about. You want to talk about that?
Well, if you remember like something like Sandlot.
Yeah.
Sandlot. And to me, it was like that. It was kind of like a mixture of that, maybe a little bit more adult subject matter, like something like The Bronx Tale, which is a movie from the 90s, which is really, really New York based. Your Boston fans probably won't like this because it probably centers around New York, but it would be
okay. So here's the thing though. I do want to say this, even though it's Boston centered. I mean, like I know you were probably saying that during. I know that you said it to me after. Listen, if it's a good baseball movie, I when it comes to the Babe, like with those guys over there, I don't like if it's a good enough movie. I don't care if it's about the Yankees. Like when Benny the Jet Rodriguez is like when Babe Ruth walks in, I'm still saying like, hey, that's Babe Ruth. Like if they're wearing a Yankees cap, like I understand where it's coming from. I'm not like, oh, why isn't he wearing a Red Sox cap? I like as a Red Sox fan. Obviously, you can see that behind me as my light goes off on cue. But you know, you know, obviously I'm very diehard about it, but I have enough respect, I think, for the game where you know, if a guy's wearing the Yankees hat, I know what that means to them. So it is impressive, but I'll let you continue.
Well, I think baseball fans are like that they're able to respect the game as a whole. And the idea of this movie was like to do something where you started kind of like at the end of, I would say the end of DiMaggio's career. And you've got these young kids. You would have three kids. You'd have like an Italian kid, you'd have a Jewish kid, and you'd have a black kid. And you would have at that time you have Mickey Mantle, Duke Snider, Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson. Right? You've got all of that in New York And it would be kind of this like, these kids run in specific groups. They run in groups of people that like a bunch of Italians run together, a bunch of Jewish kids run together, a bunch of black kids run together. And they, as they grow up, they're individual fans of individual teams. So like the Jewish kid was always it reminded me of Billy Crystal. If you've ever seen Ken Burns baseball, or the movie 61, which was directed by Billy Crystal. He's a diehard Yankees fan who grew up as a child watching Mickey Mantle. You know, he saw Mickey Mantle switch hitting home runs off the facade, you know, like he's got those actual memories of that. So I saw this kind of like, you know, comedy, this like lighthearted, quick-witted Jewish kid to be like this young Billy Crystal in that time period. And then I thought of Arthur Ashe, who was the great tennis player. He was the great black tennis player. And he always talked about what Jackie Robinson was to him and how he looked at the Dodgers as this kind of like, so I was like, okay, so that's another guy. Like imagine Arthur Ashe is like a 10-year-old kid. And then it was kind of the same thing with an Italian kid and DiMaggio, even though DiMaggio wouldn't be in the movie as much because his era was kind of ending as Mickey Mantle's was picking up. But it would be this kid who's kind of like, his family it looks at like DiMaggio like a god, right? And you would have these, you just have these kids that one's a Yankees fan, one's a Giants fan, and one's a Dodgers fan, and they would kind of separate from their cliques because they realize that each individual is the only one that can really, they're the only ones who have the equal talent to play against each other when they play, you know, when they're playing just, you know, kids on the sand line. They're the only ones who have the wherewithal and the knowledge to be able to talk the game with them properly. And then eventually the division between the teams is gone because they would rather just go to the games together, you know, and the fandom kind of like splits and then eventually get to the point where they're growing up. So it'd be this thing where you're starting with them at 10 and they hate each other. And then at 14, they kind of have it out and then they gain respect for each other. And then at like high school level, they're like best friends. But then the Giants and the Dodgers would leave, you know, and it would be like them leaving to go to university, right? It's like it's all kind of mirrored in them leaving their town and the teams leaving their town, but how they came together through baseball, and that's pretty much it. You know, it just kind of be a drama based around those times, and it's like you want to do social commentary stuff about like racism and like really like important things that have happened. Like it's a big thing to talk about those, you know, things on a cultural level right now, but like to be able to go back and to see how it was dealt with back then in a completely different time period, but see how it mirrors today at the same time. And I just like a movie like Sandlot doesn't age because it's about like the 50s, you know, and we can take, it doesn't get older when you do a contemporary movie, it kind of gets older until the point where it's classic and you just look at it as kind of like a period piece.
Exactly.
Movie. But when you make a period piece movie right off the bat, it's like, I don't know, you're always grabbing onto that nostalgia. And there's just so much nostalgia in baseball. Like it's not comparable to anything else. Like baseball fans know the game to the origin point, you know, and it's just kind of diving into all that and doing something deep and sweet and endearing and but also being able to show Mantle hitting the ball and being Mickey Mantle and watching him walk by you. Not doing the movie about Mickey Mantle, but the movie about that guy who's larger than life and that one time that he signed your ball, you know, and that those little moments that you have with these heroes that are within reach. At least they were within reach at that time, you know. So I think that's kind of what the idea of that movie was.
I think that is an amazing idea for a movie. I really thank you for sharing that. It kind of, I not the idea of it, but you know, the idea of like a Billy Crystal and Arthur Ashe, like that kind of reminded me of. I was thinking about it. There was this Amazon Prime movie. It was called One Night in Miami. I don't know if you'd heard about it, but
I've heard of that.
Like,
I haven't seen it.
Fictional. It was. I haven't either, but it would intrigue me. What intrigued me about it, it was like this fiction. They literally said this is a fictional account, and they took guys like Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, and they literally said, oh, all these guys meet up for like a night in Miami, and like this stuff goes down, and like obviously like that isn't what they're remembering. Like
I think
obviously
Regina
that
King
isn't it,
directed that. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yes, it was Regina King, and it was and I think the idea of like having like those kind of individuals like a Billy Crystal and like those guys interacting with each other, even like leaving that as like a surprise for the end to be like, hey, like like these guys went on to be like these guys, like it's just a mind-blowing idea. Like it's insanity.
Yeah, and
it would be an amazing movie.
And I feel like that it happened. It happened so much in that time period.
Oh my God.
New York was baseball between 1942 and 1958. It's just it was Yankees were winning the World Series every year, and they were either playing the Dodgers and Giants won one, and New York was the epicenter of the game, and to do it in New York, like to visualize all of that and to do the old cars and that time period of like it starts like with maybe the parents are coming back from war, and it's just wow. I don't know.
There's so many ways it could go. There's so many possibilities. It really could go so many ways, but Kami, I really do thank you for coming on the show. It has been incredible to have you on.
Thanks, Brian. No, it's been a pleasure again. Time flies. Wow, time really.
It really does. I mean, no, it's insanity, how quickly it flies. But it is time to say that we are down to the wire, which means that obviously we're coming to an end here. But before I do sign off, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the seniors of the Sutton High School baseball team real quick. Ryan Couture, Connor Benedict, Jack Greenwood. I just wanted to, shout them out for having an amazing season. I've seen you guys, play since forever at this point. I can't wait to see what you guys do going forward. And some, also kind of brighter news. I also wanted to share that Down to the Wire is now on Apple Podcasts. So if you guys are not on Spotify, make sure you guys can now go check us out over there, as well as our YouTube, our TikTok, but the main hub that you always can reach us through is our Instagram. That is at down.to-the-wire. Again, at down.to-the-wire. Kami, do you want to shout out some stuff yourself?
You can find me. My TikTok page is hey_Kami, COMMY. And just baseball videos pretty much. Got quite a few of them at this point. And you can kind of see the entire timeline of foreign substances in the last 10 weeks, where it was a joke of a topic point, and now it's kind of the biggest story in baseball. So yeah.
And that kind of concludes what we have today. Kami, thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Brian.
From Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Hey Kami from Hey Kami.
And we will see you guys next time.